Using this YouTube repurposer skill that I created, I was able to repurpose a recent YouTube video of mine into several pieces of content that doesn't sound recycled, like kind of like zombie content. So the best way to go about this is using one source. And for this video, it's going to be for someone who wants to use a YouTube video, some other content that they have that it's older on YouTube that they want to repurpose into other platforms, and they don't want it to sound recycled, basically. So the old ways, like you see on the screen here, is just for each platform, just constantly having to redo every single platform over and over. And then the other way was kind of like zombie content, which basically just sounds recycled, and it kind of kills trust. So, creating from scratch every single time, is a huge time waster, and it takes tons of time, way more time than most people have. And the other one is, obviously recycling, and it just sounds the same. It's basically taking the same thing and just putting it on different platforms and not adapting it to that actual platform itself. The best way, which is going to be what I show you in this video, is taking a YouTube video, whether it's a recent one or even an older one that you want to repurpose, and then repurposing it for platforms like LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and TikTok. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and I'll show you how the skill is used. And by the way, I'll link the skill in the description. And what I'm going to do is in my community, I'm going to post a video on how you can create the skill itself. And I'll also link that school community that I created down in the description. Really quick, I just wanted to show this is the skill that I created. This is the YouTube repurposer skill that I'm going to go ahead and link in the description. I'm going to put it on my GitHub so anybody could download it and try to use it. You could also tweak it if you want. You could tweak it for yourself. Also, what I did with my own is I actually created a second version of this. The one that I use has my own skill voice, the one that I created in one of the other videos. I baked that into this one. And right here, I created a second one for the public, for anybody to use. I took my own brand voice out of it, so when somebody uses it, they can tweak it, however they want, and it'll work for them. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go into a new task, and I will put in this YouTube repurposer skill, and I will go ahead and upload a transcript from one of my own YouTube videos that I have. It was my last one that I created. I'm pretty sure it was the last one. And then I'll type in, please repurpose this YouTube video for LinkedIn and X. And after that, let me go ahead and spell this correctly. Also got to spell this correctly. Seems like I type too fast sometimes here. And by the way, this is in Claude Cowork that I'm doing this. You could probably get away with doing something similar in the chat, or I was going to say in Claude Code, but if you do it with just regular Claude chat, it may not work as well, because with Cowork, you can use these skills and you can put the skills into Cowork, and then you can just call up the skills when you need them. So I'll go ahead and send this off, and I will be back to show you what it actually comes up with here. So after pulling in the transcript that I uploaded, you can see here it came up with a LinkedIn post, which is here. It's actually a pretty decent size one. And then right here is the X post. So what you would do is you would read through it to make sure it's something that sounds like you or something that you would say. And you could edit it here if you wanted to. At the end, it even gives you like a call to action and everything, comment workflow. I generally don't do this when I post on LinkedIn. However, right here it'll ask you, since I put in into the skill, I put Instagram and YouTube community as well as X and this LinkedIn here. I believe I only used 4, if I can remember correctly. You could tweak it. You could make it for however many different platforms you want. So it'll repurpose it into however many platforms you want. So it's asking me here, want me to also pull Instagram and a YouTube community post poll out of this one, or is LinkedIn enough for now? So what I'll do is I'll say also create a YouTube community post. Community post. Let me go ahead and backspace here. And what it'll do is after I send it off, it will then create a YouTube community post. And then again, you would go through and look and make sure that you want to either post as is, or if you wanted to edit it out and figure out, if it's actually the exact post you would want to put. So the good thing about this type of tool and this type of skill is that it uses a lot less time and repurpose your content without it sounding like, so-called zombie content, which is just recycled the exact same thing for every single platform. And what's cool about this is you could actually also create like a web artifact that you could share with people. So you could share the tool with somebody else and then let them use it and test it out to see how it goes. Or you could create it and save it for something for yourself to use over and over again. Some people may or may not want to use Cowork like this. They want it to look prettier. Create like a wrapper, I guess you would call it, air quotes, wrapper. Because a lot of people talk about creating these tools that are basically like a wrapper that uses AI on the back end. So it's all up to you, however you'd like to use a skill like this. By the way, this is the actual YouTube community post, the post that it came up with that I asked it to. And it actually still has even more follow-up saying, do you want me to draft Instagram and TikTok? So I actually did have TikTok in the skill itself, so you would go through this and you would edit it out and see, is this something you want to put in? So it does a pretty good job, I think, this YouTube skill. It saves a lot of time. So whoever wants to try it out can go ahead and try it out for yourself, tweak it if you need to, and see what it actually comes up with. By the way you can get a YouTube transcript from your video is by going to this website. I'll link it in the description. It's just a free website called Tactic, and you would just go like this and paste it in, the link to your video, and then you would just wait for it to pop up. So right here, you would just click download it as a text file, and then just name it the same name as the video so you remember what it is. And then when you go into the Cowork chat that you're going to create the skill with or use the skill, then you would paste that in like you saw me have already pasted in, and then it'll pull the context from this video. So that's pretty much the simplest way. The harder way to do this would actually be using Claude Code to create your own tool to do this, which can be done obviously, but it would just take a longer time and a little bit of know-how. You could create your own tool that could then pull in these transcripts from YouTube videos. Just as a quick extra, I'm going to show you how to build a artifact using the YouTube repurposer skill, or any skill. Basically, it'll work with anything. You can just create it and then use it how you see fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invoke the web artifact skill. It's the web artifacts builder. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and paste in a prompt that I created for this. I will also share this prompt in the description, just in case anybody wants to create their own for the same type after you install your YouTube repurposer skill. So what you would do is you would put in this prompt, and the prompt is basically going to have these features. So someone could upload text, PDF, doc, or docs documents for context. It's going to have a library feature to save created posts of the repurposed content. And then I also had it include 3 themes for dark and light. So I'm going to go ahead and I will send this off, and I will come back here to show you exactly what it came up with. So it finally finished building the artifact for me. I'll click on it here and show you. So it gives you, and after I tell you about it really quickly, I'll click on the arrow to open up into a different tab. So this library, it lets you save anything you generate in this library. Right here, you would put the video title. This is optional to put the URL. What you would do is you would put the transcript here, or you could just upload it. However, with this tool, I noticed this is grayed out until you actually fill in the transcript here. So what I'll do is I'll show you how it works here in a second. This is just extra stuff that you can click on. So you can try putting in, mine will be like tools and tutorials, for example. So I'll set it as tools and tutorials. You could put in a hook. It's going to show the point here, 3-step prompt chain. This is kind of like filler text here. So you'll see once it generates, and then you just click on, the different platforms. And again, you could edit it however you want. You could add platforms. You could delete these platforms. So I'm going to do it for YouTube community and LinkedIn. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go here off screen onto it's the same video, and I'm going to copy the title. I'll put the title here, And then what I'll do is I will grab the actual link, and I'll put in the link anyway. So what I'll do then is I'll go in, I'll grab this, and this is the actual transcript from the text file. So instead of uploading the text file, I'll just paste it in here. And then as you can see, it says generate with Claude. So I'll go ahead and click generate with Claude, and it shows it drafting. So what I'll do is I'll be back here in a minute once it is finished drafting so you can see what it looks like. So as you see here, it's done. This is the content that it put out. It put out a LinkedIn post here, and then it put out a YouTube community post here. I'll go ahead and open it up so you can see it full screen. So what you can do with this, the features I added in are you can, save to library, you can clear it out, redo it. But like as I mentioned earlier, it actually put in the points right here, it broke them up. Also, it named, specifics like tools, numbers, times frames, things like that. So what I'll do is I'll click Save to Library, and you can see here it populated one. So then you would come in and you could download it as a markdown file and then reuse it in more future usage of like anything with like Cowork and skills. If you want to use it like as context or something like that, you could actually export the whole library. Like if you come up with a whole bunch of different generation, you could export it, or you could clear it out, and then if you wanted to import it again, just to test out if that feature actually works. I don't see why it wouldn't work. It probably does. So another small feature is it gives you this copy here. So you would just copy it, and then you would just go to, this one, YouTube community, and you would post it. However, as I've mentioned in other videos and in this one, always make sure that it's in your own voice before you actually do it. You have to go through the editing process. You can't just post it because most likely it'll just be something generic. So that's just a quick little demonstration of this kind of a tool that you can build, like an artifact that you could use for yourself if you don't want to actually just use something like this. This is totally fine too. Using Claude Cowork like this is totally fine. So whatever works for you, hopefully, and it just in the end it helps you save time. So hopefully this gave you some idea of how you can repurpose your content from a YouTube video and have that repurposed content be original and not just sound recycled. So you can use the skill and you can tweak it if needed. Go ahead and download it. I will link it in the description like I mentioned earlier. And with that, I will end this one. So I will see you in the next